Hey everyone, welcome back to another Haolonggood review. Today we're taking a look at the new Edmontosaurus. Edmontosaurus has become quite the popular dinosaur among companies lately. Pretty much every big player in the dinosaur figure game has done an Edmontosaurus relatively recently, and now it's Haolonggood's turn. Now I end up getting these figures from AliExpress. They retail for around 20 bucks a piece, and as always, they come in two color variants, orange and green. So, and I'll leave a link down below in the description to AliExpress if you want to pick up one of these for yourself. So let's just go with the packaging really quick. Let's just get my light all nice and centered on the packaging. You have both versions on the packaging, and to tell the difference, I think the green one was 90 and the orange one was 89. I don't remember. We took them out of the box. Could have got the order mixed up, but you got both right here, front and center on the box, 135 scale. And on top of the box, we have some of Haolonggood's releases. They release a lot of figures. They have a very rapid fire release schedule, but you know what? Their low price point makes it much easier to deal with than a couple years ago when PNSO was doing an absolute onslaught. 40, 50, 60, $70 figures just one after another. Haolonggood is much easier on the wall to deal with their rapid fire releases. So enough about the packaging. Let's throw these two figures up on the turntable and take a closer look. And here are both figures out of the packaging. I have to say yet again, Haolonggood does a phenomenal job on their herbivores. I'm glad, most of the figures being teased by them are herbivores. I think almost all of them are. Their theropods always need a little bit of work, but they have been absolutely killing it with the herbivores, and these Edmontosaurus are another welcome addition to their rapidly expanding lineup. Now, there's two color versions, the green and orange version. If I had to pick my favorite out of the two, I like the orange version a lot better than the green one. Just really like how the orange pops along that with that cream color, a little bit of green on the back. And both have different color crests. The orange has an orange crest, and the green one has a blue crest. And that's why I like the affordability of Haolonggood. It makes it very easy to pick up both figures. And, with the different colors, it makes it look like you have a male and female version of each species. So, yeah, really nicely done. They're, pretty much accurate. They look like, Edmontosaurus Regalis. I did line up a skull up against the profile of one of these figures, and it does match up pretty nicely to Regalis. I know a lot of people want a Neckens, but Regalis, because that little comb on its head just seems to make this Hadrosaur very popular with toy companies. So let's do some measurements. These figures are 10.5 inches long from the tip of the beak to the tip of the tail, or 26.7 centimeters, 3 inches tall to the top of the hips, or 7.6 centimeters. So Edmontosaurus Regalis was a very large hadrosaur. The maximum adult length is between 39 to 43 feet long, or 12 to 13 meters. So with those estimates, that would be 145 to the 150 scale range. However, a lot of Edmontosaurus specimens average around that 30-foot length, or 9 meters. So I'll put these nicely in that 135 scale. I know, like, a lot of people are big on scale, and we all like our figures to represent the maximum size a species can attain. It's nice to get some figures that are kind of in between that, because not everything that we have from the fossil record is full-grown adults. So it's nice to get something that's like in between, like a subadult or a young adult animal, like these Edmontosaurs, and it just makes for good herd building. Just shows you the variation in size of all these fossils. All right, now let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure. We're starting with the orange version because it is my favorite one. We've got a nice Edmontosaurus Regalis head sculpt right here. Edmontosaurus Regalis had a little bit higher, more triangular shaped skull versus Neckens, which was much lower. You do have that comb or wattle sculpted on top of the head. That's ever since that discovery, it seems like everyone wanted to make an Edmontosaurus figure to make it look a little bit less plain. So that's cool that we get some soft tissue preservation with some of these Edmontosaurus specimens. The beak is decked out in black paint. You have some nice orange and greens mixed all over the head. Going up to the eye, is nice blue with a black pupil. Very peaceful looking, almost like a doe look to it. Going down to the neck, you have all these large scales sculpted in that form almost like a chainmail armor, and they probably protect their necks from large predators. And then going down for the body, you have all this nice orange and yellows mixed in with this cream color. You have some orange blotches peppered throughout the whole body, some dark green and black markings along the thigh. Going down to the front legs. Front legs are nicely sculpted. You can see they have the single digit, which I think there was like 2 or 3 fingers covered by that giant like hoof on there. That was from the Dakota specimen from a few years ago. And then going down to the back, we have a nice row of spikes going all the way down to the tip of the tail. Very nice, powerful looking hind legs. You can see it's sculpted in a nice walking pose. I like it when my figures are sculpted like that. Gives them a very nicely active look. And then spin the figure over. Let's do our dinosaur butthole check. Very, very nice cloaca slit. Very nicely defined. You know, I like my buttholes on this channel. And then going down to the tail, we got some more of those dark markers with the orange paint peppered throughout. So yeah, all around, really, really nice looking Edmontosaurus figure. And now let's take a look at the green version. The green one has some nice colors going on it. You have a little bit of pink on the head and along the back. Same thing, the eyes are done in blue. I love blue eyes on dinosaur figures. I think they make them very striking. The comb and waddle is decked out in blue paint. Here's a view from the underside. Here's a view from the top. And then going down to the neck, you can see all those large scales nicely sculpted on here. And then going down to the body, you get some of that nice cream coat mixing in with all this dark green. Now, this is a very, very natural looking figure. You know, this is like perfect camouflage for a Edmontosaurus trying to hide in a forest from a large predator. Going down to the front legs are nicely sculpted, nice thick and muscular forearms. Same thing with the thighs. You get some nice folds of wrinkles. You can see nice proportionate scale detail. I love how companies lately have been making their figures less over textured and just going with more proportionate scales. Just looks much, much nicer in my eyes. And then going down to the tail, you get some nice cream and all those dark marking mixing in. Same thing, very nice butthole on the green version. So yeah, both versions are nice. The orange one is still my favorite, but you really can't go wrong picking either one. Moving on with comparisons, here it is. We'll collect these 140 scale human. And let's do a couple other Hadrosaur figures. Here it is with Haolonggood's currently other Hadrosaur. They're Telophus. I know I always mess this one up. You know, one thing I noticed with Haolonggood, it seems like every few releases, one would be really, really flat and lacking, you know, much detail. I don't know if they have two sculptors, but let's just pull these in for a close look. You can see the Edmontosaurus has much more defined scale detail. You know, even though it's proportioned, it has much better texturing. The Telophus is very, very flat looking. Same thing with their Dinosaurus, beautifully sculpted, detailed figure. And then their Huerosaurus was very, very flat looking. It just seems like every once in a while, like some figures come out really, really flat. Still a great figure of, you know, obscure species of Hadrosaur, but just something that I just wanted to point out that I noticed. And next up, whoops, I just knocked someone over. Here is PNSO's amazing looking Parasaurolophus. And here is another PNSO. She has not made a debut on this channel for a very long time. Here it is with Carolyn. And look at that. She's standing up all on her own. She's been pretty much banished to the storage bin for the last couple of years. And I took her out the other day to get her ready for this review. And she's actually standing. So I don't know if I just threw in there right and it kind of straightened her out. But I still don't trust her. She's just a big, top-heavy figure that will knock over half the figures on my shelf if I leave her displayed. And next up, Haolonggood has been sneakily giving us a Horseshoe Canyon formation dinosaurs. Here is the Daspletosaurus, the Edmontonia, and Pachyrhinosaurus. You can see how all those scale with each other. And why not? Let's throw another Horseshoe Canyon figure in here. Here it is with Collectes Struthiomimus. And next up, what dinosaur figure review is not complete without a T-Rex comparison. Oh, sorry, orange one. Here it is with Eofauna's Sue. You know, very divisive figure among the dinosaur toy collecting community. I actually really, really like how it turned out. Let's open the cup up so we can see it just a little bit better. And lastly, here we are at Edmontosaurus Mania. Like I said, a lot of companies love making this Hadrosaur figure. We have some really good figures made over the year, but it's kind of cool to see, you know, the evolution of this dinosaur throughout the years with all the new discoveries that have been made about it. So back here we have, you know, the recent release PNSO Edmontosaurus, which I think out of all these is the best representation of Edmontosaurus. And I think the consensus is among, you know, us dinosaur toy collectors that this one actually does represent Edmontosaurus neckins. I know a lot of people, you know, weren't happy that it had the comb because the neckins has yet to be found with a comb, but that doesn't mean it didn't have one. And then over here we have Safari's Edmontosaurus Collectes, and this is the old Wild Safari Edmontosaurus. So yeah, you can see like the evolution, with the original Wild Safari. It had a much more duckbill looking beak instead of like the kind of that, hook that the other figures have. All the fingers on the forehand have hooves on it, and then we get to Safaris, and you have that oven mitt look without the claws. And this figure released like literally like right after the Dakota description came out, and then we had Collecte's massive one come out, and then PNS. So yeah, a lot of great figures out there. And if you had to, pick one, I know there's all different prices. The PNS one being the most expensive, followed by the Collecte, and then Safari. For $20, Haolonggood is a pretty good deal. It's not a full-size individual, but if you're on a budget and you need a Edmontosaurus for your collection, definitely go with Haolonggood. So, final thoughts on Haolonggood's Edmontosaurus. I think they're very well done. They're scientifically accurate. They represent currently what we know about Edmontosaurus Regalis. Both color schemes are great. My personal preference is the orange one, but you can't go wrong with either. Both are very natural looking, and I just absolutely love blue eyes on dinosaurs. I always just find that so striking. And plus the price point, $20. You need an Edmontosaurus for your collection. You don't want to pay PNSO or Collecte prices. You can't go wrong with Haolonggood, and their affordability makes it very easy to get both versions. I like that because it looks like a male and female version with the different colors on them. So yeah, definitely highly recommend these figures. I'm starting to get to the point where I feel I love Edmontosaurus. Very, very important dinosaur species. Peabody's Edmontosaurus, which I recently saw as the first fully mounted dinosaur skeleton using primarily fossil material ever mounted in the U.S. I was at Smithsonian last year. That Edmontosaurus was the second mounted dinosaur in the U.S. So it's a very, very important species. But I'd like to see other Hadrosaur species get some attention. I know Haolonggood has a Maiasaura plan, but I'd love to see Saurolophus. I've been dying for a Saurolophus for years. It's been on my top one of my list for years and years and years, and I feel like Haolonggood is probably the company that's going to get to it because they have such a rapid-fire release schedule, and they do a great variety of species. Speaking of that, I do have the Yaplocephalus coming in already on ordered. I just pre-ordered the Memenchisaurus coming in. Hooray for $45 shipping on that monster. So yeah, like I said, begin review. Links are down below to AliExpress if you want to pick these figures up for yourself. And that will do it. Got really nothing new coming in until those Haolonggood Yaplocephaluses come in, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.